at Crypto News Live. So let's see how and what exactly changed. And this is probably my first live stream in 4 years. So yeah, let that just sink in. So we got a lot of updates today. Tons of new updates, tons of content, and that's what I'm really excited about. So we got some XRP news, we got some Bitcoin news, we got everything basically. Let's start with Ethereum this time. It's actually pretty crazy on what's happening with ETH. Ethereum shorts are really popular on Twitter. Everybody and everywhere I check, it's absolutely wild right now. And to me, that is insane. And what we are seeing with Ethereum is that everybody, I mean, literally everybody is talking how much it's going to pump. And when you check the price, if I open the price up here, so let me see the price. The price went up 2%. So 2% can crash pretty fast, and I think that's a pretty big problem. Ethereum shorts are still at all-time high despite all recent overwhelmingly positive news. And that is incredible, like how many people are happy that it's gonna go up. I definitely hope so. Don't get me wrong. I hope that Ethereum is gonna be one of the biggest things in crypto and it's gonna go back. But people are really hopeful for something that's been on a downtrend for years. And welcome everyone new to the stream. If you want, I'm live. So, follow me or smash that like button. It's really appreciated. So Ethereum shorts are still at its highest despite all the recent overwhelming news. And this is a pretty clear indicator. Like if this was true, whales would probably already sell. So whales would go and sell it off, everything. Literally, they wouldn't care. But we are here. Ethereum's all-time shorts, probably like a whale sitting with $30 million. And nobody's realizing how much is being sold. So let that sink in. To me, this is a pretty clear factor that Ethereum might not be recovering anytime soon. But let's check what else is up in the news. I think I had some XRP news. So what do you guys think? Do you think Ethereum is going to go up? Because right now it looks like it really doesn't look like it. There's been no indicators that Ethereum is suddenly going to explode and we are going to be, all rich, which would be definitely nice. So XRP right now, XRP has also been talking about pumping and we have been waiting that for a long time. XRP has actually been moving up and down. If I pull up the graph here, people were saying XRP is gonna pump again today to about $3.6 because it did pump to 2.33 cents for just a bit. The issue was, however, nothing happened, and we actually did have a full crash on that. So whatever gains XRP gained this month, it actually lost everything. So you can actually see it dumped back to 2.27 and it's dipping. And it also tells me that the whales are selling XRP right now. Like that's like we are getting hyped up about 2.33 cents, like 10-cent gains. And that is for one very simple reason. I'm going to tell you why people are so hyped up is because if you look at the graph over here, if we look at the crypto graph, XRP has actually been kind of stable after its first bull run. It hasn't seen that much pump, guys. It has actually never reached the levels of 3.36. But I'm still hopeful for Ethereum for one simple reason. And that is because Ethereum has, in a way, really upholded like what whales couldn't do. So Ethereum, is kind of recently dropped a lot. But what I really like with, for example, XRP is that XRP can actually withhold these levels. Like some of the whales keep buying, even if, other whales keep selling or people keep selling, XRP is always going to pump. And that to me is a very, very good sign for XRP that it might rise in the future, that it might wait for the actually with updates. So Anyone that's holding XRP like doesn't want to sell it. Now, if we look at, you know, any other crypto coin here, so let me just check what's the most popular right now. Bonk has been absolutely exploding as well. But if we even check other coins, you know, like Pi, Aptos, Say, Jasmy, all of these coins have been pale to comparison to XRP, right? They didn't drop. Ethereum, everybody's calling on Twitter for Ethereum pump. It didn't happen as people were expecting. People were expecting like a big major pump, but it never happened, unfortunately. So what we were waiting for is XRP actually going up to $3, which is gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard. Right now, let's take a look at the graph for XRP. Should be somewhere around here. If we look at 1 hour, XRP is nowhere in sight, even like 1 hour charts, even though everybody on Twitter is talking that it will grow. If we type here, XRP, it's one of the most trending right now because people are expecting it to pump. So here we go. XRP, you check over here. Again, it has 134 billion market cap, number 4 crypto. And people are saying it's going to beat Ethereum. It's probably like half a market cap of Ethereum. Now, here's where I'm hopeful really with XRP. There is one saving grace for XRP right now to pump. This, again, is not financial advice. If you guys haven't already, be sure to follow me either on YouTube or like, because I really appreciate it. But the good thing about XRP here is the new regulation. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, XRP is actually having a ton of work with the government. And this would be absolutely huge. And I posted this on Twitter recently. That happens July 8th. It actually was July 9th. So that was a mistake on my end. But on July 9th, we are going to be seeing, which I already talked about, the big thing for XRP. Everybody's talking about this. Everybody loves this. And that is what makes XRP big. To hit $4, this is exactly what XRP needs. It needs some sort of government work. It needs some sort of major updates to hit that level. Like the community support right now is not enough. And we are seeing all this news, but what XRP, in my opinion, from all the experience I had in crypto, it needs to become the biggest worker with the government, right? So years ago, we talked how crypto will never be working with the government, how we're going to destroy the government, right? And this has changed. We can already see this idea on crypto has changed in the last 4 years, in the last 5 years. If you check 2018, everybody was using crypto because they hated keeping their money in the bank, and they hated taxes, and they hated all of that. But when you look at crypto now, and you look at XRP, you actually see a very big difference here. You see that Ripple could soon become America's first crypto native bank. The OCC's decision expected this summer, and it could change everything for XRP. And this summer could potentially mean August. I know regulation takes some time, but this for me is very good news overall. I think a lot of people have been waiting for that for a very long time. They wanted to see that, and I'm really excited for that. Who knows what's going to happen with that? If we check some other news, I already talked about Ethereum. Also in the news today, BBVA has launched Bitcoin and Ethereum trading and custody for retail customers in Spain, fully integrated into its mobile app under EU MiCA compliance. What's that? I gotta check this. So Spain just front-ran the EU. So I guess EU can now enter like more crypto regulation. I'm just going to reply to that because that's free engagement, y'all. But for me, this is very big. BBVA, I guess that's a bank. Probably Spain knows more about that. A Bitcoin and Ethereum trading and custody for retail customers in Spain. So that's pretty good. I mean, EU MiCA compliance has actually enabled a lot of these cryptos to go up. And become better. So for me, that's definitely great. It's not bad at all. Nothing bad about that. Like, the more banks that enter and accept crypto, the more car shops that are gonna be accepting crypto. And that point, it's gonna be awesome news. So that's what I saw here. I don't know for how long I was actually on my own side, but here you can see the post I was talking about. So here is the full post. This was just from Cointelegraph in, so this is confirmed that Bitcoin is actually expanding. And I feel like that these banks are kind of forced right now to take, all these key infos and go for it, like all these big coins. They're kind of forced to work with them because it's so much money involved. And at this point, if you're a bank, you kind of want to work with crypto anyway, because so many people are going mainstream with crypto. Even if you want to like just buy $50 of something, you're going to do that. So this is another big, huge news that I saw that really hyped me up and that I'm really excited about. So while details of the report's content remain scarce, so I'm guessing it's just rumors, right? Some industry participants speculate it may include recommendations on funding a strategic Bitcoin reserve without burdening taxpayers, along with proposals to ensure crypto firms have fair access to banking services from institutions like the Federal Reserve, which has historically resisted granting crypto companies direct access to its payment system. So that's another thing that I have seen, and people are asking why this is big. VLFI is a deep enterprise discovery phase after. I don't think that's VLFI. I'm not too sure if that's what it means. But why is this important? Strategic Bitcoin reserve without burdening taxpayers. So this is the big thing that people have been asking for. A reserve, a Bitcoin reserve, like the government buying Bitcoin. When a person buys Bitcoin, they can't buy that much. But when you or when the government actually buys Bitcoin, it's a very, very big amount. And I think it makes a major difference that people don't realize how huge that actually is. So we do have some other content here. Actually, welcome everyone to the stream, by the way. There's some traders here, but we did have, well, we already talked about Bonk, right? So this is another post that actually hasn't gotten a lot of traction, but this is what really convinced me that we might be seeing like this big influx of Bitcoin buyers. They are not telling you this, but the top 4 central banks have 94 trillion in money supply. So they have a very big money supply. And guess what? It's all going to become stable coins, because why wouldn't it? Fiat is already digital. And that to me is huge, huge news. Stable coins are just the upgraded version, faster, programmable, global. That's 94 trillion heading for Ethereum. And that's just for stablecoins. Yeah, you're still thinking small. Buy ETH, you're early. So another person saying to buy ETH, but I'm kind of worried what this actually means. Why would the money 94 trillion head for Ethereum? So that is my question. Like, why would these, if you had $94 trillion, why would you buy Ethereum from that? Yeah, fiat is already digital, like it's earning money. Stablecoins are just the upgraded version. That's not, like, it's less regulated. Like if somebody offered you stablecoins and if somebody offered you actual dollars, which one would you take? I'm guessing 99.9% of the people in the world, 99.5% of people in the world would pick money. And that's a very big factor that people don't realize. So let's see if there's any good news as well. All right, so this is another one for XRP holders that I have been seeing. So XRP Tether US, we have been talking about XRP pumps for a while, guys, and today's XRP pump is completely wiped out. It actually got completely destroyed, and any sort of pump we saw actually dropped. And that is what the biggest problem is with crypto right now, is anytime we see a pump like that, a whale is going to sell. So look at this. XRP Tether US reaches 234 and drops back. And this is a very good theory I have, and I'm actually going to explain to you why this happened. Why did these whales sell all their XRP? So everything you got today, all the gains you got today, got wiped, right? On the long term, this isn't the problem, but on the short term, it might seem devastating. So it was 10 cents more. People made videos about it, dropped 4 cents immediately. And I'm going to explain this theory again. I know I made it in a video, but most people didn't watch that video because it has like 5-10 views or 40 views because I just started posting content again. So XRP is number 4 crypto. But years ago, maybe 10 years ago, well, actually it was 10 years ago, people bought it for just a very small amount. They bought it for 1 cent. And you're saying, oh, that was just institutions. No, it was in an open market and people could buy it for a very, very small amount. And that's what made people very happy. They were trading it for fun. And soon, even in 2016, as XRP became more popular, it was under a penny, 1.1 million trading volume. This means someone bought 10,000 of it. Now, if he bought $1,000 of XRP for about 1 cent, let's say he bought it at a peak and not even for half a penny, or let's say he made today, by today's standards, he has $500,000 if he bought it for half a penny. So we can see exactly that happening. We can see people selling off exactly this first wave of Ethereum and XRP whales that wanted to buy this crypto. They bought it and they sold it back in 2018, 1st of August. Actually, my bad. That was 1st of January. So this was the first wave of whales. You had just 1 day to sell, right? You had one simple day to sell. And if you didn't sell, you were completely lucked out, because let's see what happened if you didn't sell in 2018. If you didn't sell in 2018, it dropped back to 25 cents. You waited 2 years, right? You spent time with your family. It dropped to 28 cents. You saw a rally to 57 cents. I'm not going to sell it for 57 cents if I'm making, if I could have sold it for $3.5, even if I got it for a half a penny, or even if I got it for 19 cents, why would I just double my money, right? That's the gambler's mindset. So when you check over here, people couldn't sell it until the next opportunity 3 years. 3 years later. This basically means if you have a son, if you have a kid, it basically means the kid gets out of college almost. And you could sell it for $1.65. And some whales had 3 years of waiting, had enough of 3 years of waiting. So what they did is they did exactly that. They sold off, and you could only have like 1 or 2 days. So that's immediately on the graph. You had 3 days. Actually, here you had 3 weeks, 2 weeks to decide if you want to sell it for $1.5 or it crashed down to 63 cents in just a few weeks. So let that sink in. That was 2021, okay? And here we go again. If you wanted to go 2021, another rally, I remember this June rally like it was yesterday, was $1.22. So it was never close to even $3.36. No. There was a big lawsuit still going on. People didn't want to sell it at a loss. And it kind of made them just say, I'm going to hold this. So they waited many years. From 2021, they waited another four years. They waited through all the bear markets. They waited through all the bull runs. And of course, some people sold in this level, right? They sold all their crypto. You can see here, people now have the opportunity to sell it for near the prices of 2018. They can sell it for $3.36. And now the whales last month have been selling it off slowly, in my opinion. I think it's a very psychological thing. I think it has happened. And they go from $2.33 to $2 to $2.22 to 2.3. So it kind of goes ups and downs, right? And every time we get a spike, you can see a whale has sold $2.33 because they don't think it's going to go back to 3.36, or it might take some time. What they rather do is sell it for even 2/3 of that and go at $2 here, go back up. It finally rallies back, like people buy it at $2. They think it's a cheap price to enter, which it might be. And then go back up to 230. Again, we see the dip being wiped in just one day. So you can actually see the pattern over here is very obvious for crypto. So I think it's a pretty clear explanation of why XRP is not going up right now. But that being said, let's react to some videos now. Should be some nice content out there. So yeah, smash that like if you haven't already. So here we are seeing another news from my favorite YouTuber, My Crypto Journey. Drake mentions Bitcoin, Trump, and Elon beef. I want to kind of see that. Drake mentioning Bitcoin, like one of the biggest influencers talking about Bitcoin. And then Trump and Elon having a beef. I'm not too much into politics, so I didn't talk that much about it. But there's been a lot of content happening this year.
Now let's hop into some meme coins. The top 10 meme coins are Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, Pepe, Bonk, Trump, Altcoin, SPX, Pudgy Penguins, Dog with Hat, and Floki. Now we see a couple of OG.
Like meme coins have been rising, but they haven't been even close to what we saw right now to other cryptos. It hasn't been even close to like XRP or Bitcoin. I think the point of meme coins was 2019.
We're kind of interchanging. Now Trump token's looking pretty good. Obviously, that's our president's official meme coin, which is really insane if you think about it. I think right now the ones with the most hype that are in the top 10 are probably SPX 6900 and of course Fartcoin.
I mean, these are kind of high, but like they are at good levels, but they're nothing like what Pepe was, before. So it's not even close to where other crypto was days ago or years ago. It's just a very small fraction of the market cap that we are seeing right now.
Those are the newest comers to the top 10 meme coins, and definitely some projects you should keep your eyes on. So I hope you had an awesome 4th of July. And just to change your perspective about crypto, these are the prices of Bitcoin on the 4th historic. So Bitcoin's first ever 4th of July, it was trading.
So that's true. Like Bitcoin definitely did rise, but other cryptos did not rise that much as we expected. Look at this prices, 100,000. So it basically doubled every year. And that's what people tell me like all the time. If you just put your money in Bitcoin, you would be rich. Yeah, if you like, it's still gambling because people don't remember. People just remember this year. They don't remember the year of 2017 or like that crypto crash 2019 to 2020. You probably lost money. 2021 to 19,000, 2023 you basically didn't make any money back, so you had to wait a very long time for this to happen.
Around 1 cent. Then we see in 2011 $15, 2012 $7, $77, $640, and of course all the way up to today's price at $108,000. And through the years you could see fluctuations, and that's why it's so important to zoom out and just look at the Bitcoin chart long term. Next.
So yeah, crypto in the long term, I still think it's going to be growing because the institutions are going to be buying it as well. So that's a very good factor.
It's some random news that really surprised me was the fact that Drake actually mentioned Bitcoin in one of his newest songs. Look, I'm a huge Drake fan.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like worded for him. I think he's getting paid by the one of the biggest casinos, right? So he's probably very invested in crypto anyway. If he mentions like crypto, anything, it's gonna pump up in price. People need to realize that if you mention, like, if you're holding 100 million and you're a big influencer, like 200 million people listen to you per month. If you mention like any altcoin, especially Bitcoin, it's gonna go up in price. Like, people who never heard about it will buy it, and people who have heard about it will be like, oh, this guy's cool, he's mentioning crypto that I own, and I'm gonna profit from it.
And when I heard this, I was on it right away. And it seems that the rest of the crypto news sphere is starting to catch up. And this was the verse from the song.
What's the get back for niggas is TBD. I look at this shit like a BTC. Could be down this week, then I'm up next week. I don't give a fuck if you love me.
Now, it may not be the biggest news, but I think it's important. You have one of the biggest...
I think crypto is becoming mainstream. This is a pretty clear sign that crypto is always going to be mainstream. There's always going to be people joining in and talking more about crypto because it's becoming the next big thing.
Artists of all time mentioning crypto. And no, it didn't shoot the price of Bitcoin sky high, but it just...
But Bitcoin is kind of like priced in already. There's big institutions buying it, but just seeing that, there might be more people talking about crypto in the future. Like, we didn't see big rappers talk about that yet.
Goes to show how more Bitcoin is becoming part of our everyday lives. All right, so the next piece of news is the fact that the US Secret Service launches a global operation to combat crypto scams. Now, that's interesting because obviously, since Donald Trump got elected,
that's definitely interesting because like altcoins have been going down, but people have been really excited about that news overall.
It's not still being manipulated. And I would sell my Bitcoin right into this rally. And believe me, I had been a believer one time in Bitcoin.
If you ever heard about Jim Cramer effect, basically this would be like the opposite. Whenever he said that, the crypto markets pumped.
Bitcoin, not here, not now.
Holy airball. Jim Cramer is pretty much a meme, and you literally just do the opposite of what...
I mean, I guess he also gets like probably some sort of a following of old boomers saying that Bitcoin is gonna die one day. So for sure, if there's all the people liking Bitcoin, there must be people that hate Bitcoin and that it's going to crash to zero. So when you're like saying that it's going to crash, you might as well have like a small community that is going to join you on your side. And when it does crash, which it does every 2 years, people are going to be joining in and saying, I told you so. I told you it crashed. And that's exactly what we saw.
He says, and things are going to work out. Now, to put things in perspective in a different way, less than 7% of the global population is invested in crypto. That means that even if you see Bitcoin at $110,000 and you think it's still too high, only 7% of the people in the world are invested.
I guess like being invested could mean they hold like $1 of crypto. So that's a pretty important factor. Like, it could mean like a very, very small amount. And I definitely think this part could be smaller because this is tracked in like first world countries, 7%. So anyone that can do this surveys, like, I heard that adoption in Africa and Asia is actually pretty bad. I heard the adoption is getting better and everybody's talking about it in Asia because nobody's using it in Asia. So you got to consider that factor in. It's a pretty important factor is that mostly like these surveys are from US. So it might be just 2%, might be 3%.
In crypto. So if you're watching this, you're still early. And it would be a good idea to get some Bitcoin or any crypto before governments and the elite buy it all up. And the US director of...
They're already buying it all up.
Digital assets says that, quote, we want as much Bitcoin as we can possibly accumulate. Check this out.
The time too, as we set up the strategic Bitcoin reserve, it's like, how much Bitcoin do you want? And I think that's a very silly question the journalists ask. You know, we want as much Bitcoin as we can possibly accumulate.
Now, it's something we've been talking about ever since Trump got elected. The government and just companies in general, institutions in general, are trying to buy up as much Bitcoin as they can. Now, I still think we're in the early phase of all of this.
I still think there's a lot of regulation to do as well. That's a very important factor. Tons of regulation needs to go through before we actually get people to buy Bitcoin.
You still have time to get in at prices that we may never see again. But it just goes to show how the government is thinking. And the thing is, we haven't really established a way to actually buy Bitcoin. But we do have about 200,000 Bitcoin seized from scams and fraud and crimes in general. But you can bet that going forward, the government will figure out a way to buy it using taxpayer money or however. So how much Bitcoin should you buy? I always say as much as you can afford. 20 bucks a week, 20 bucks a month, whatever you can get your hands on, I think is valuable. Now this is interesting because 8 dormant Satoshi era Bitcoin wallets were reactivated after 14 years, moving a total of 8.6 billion in Bitcoin since last night. Now this was on July 3rd. And right here you can see the transactions. Now Satoshi era means these guys bought Bitcoin for cents and dollars. So I don't know what's going on, but it's interesting that 8 dormant wallets are just reacting.
Actually, I made many videos on that, and there's a rumor that it's Roger Ver. Nobody knows, but this would be awesome if it is.
Activated out of nowhere. And that begs the question, is Satoshi still alive? All right, so the next piece of news is Senator Loomis introduces a bill to exempt tax on crypto transactions under $300. Now, obviously, Loomis has been down for Bitcoin since day one. One of our few people in the government that are kind of crypto G's and are not just hopping on the bandwagon. Now, this would be awesome because a lot of people that transact with crypto.
I mean, this would also be awesome because like people who buy very small amounts of crypto might actually, get it for paying basically no tax on that.
Address eventually. We're just kicking the can down the road for the next generation. Yeah, some people may say, fuck them kids, who cares about them? I like where Elon Musk is coming with all. He's trying to think of us in the future. Now, if you guys didn't know, Elon Musk created his own party called the American Party. Now, I think it's actually a legit party, and it focuses on putting the American...
All I know is a lot of people made progress, like made crypto coins on that. I don't know anything about US politics right now, neither would I try to step too much into them. But it sounds like, awesome news. It sounds like something that I kind of expected Elon Musk to do. He was already in politics, wasn't he? So what's stopping him now from doing it, from, speaking his own voice? He already worked with the president, and if you didn't think he didn't work in politics, I don't know what to tell you.
Putting the American people first, which obviously is going to cause some division in the Republican Party. The Democrats will kind of win, I think, because of the situation. So it's kind of splitting the Republican Party. We'll see what happens, but interesting times in the political landscape. And maybe we need a new party. Who knows? It's going to be an interesting 4 years. All right, so the last piece of news has to do with Ethereum, because yes, the price is down, but is there hope for Ethereum in the future? Because again, it's lagging way behind Bitcoin, and we're not even close to an all-time high.
We saw where Ethereum was absolutely destroyed.
We're pretty much like a 2x away from an all-time high. But this article from CNBC's Crypto World says that Ethereum is powering Wall Street's future. The crypto scene at Keynes shows how far it's come. So crypto founders, developers, and some institutional giants gathered at the Ethereum Community Conference.
Well, that tells me something. That is definitely huge news for anyone holding ETH, because we kind of wanted like these big institutions to buy Ethereum. They already bought a lot of Bitcoin. Now they're wondering, is 107K too much to buy it? Should we buy it? Oh no, $108,000 for one Bitcoin. I could buy like for 30,000. And they're gonna be looking for the next big hit, and that might be Ethereum. So they might be buying all the stock of Ethereum, going ahead, looking into it, and that's it. And that's it. Easy money for them. Like when it's at its lowest, they can just scoop up everything.
Or ETHCC in France. Ethereum's institutional adoption is accelerating, with BlackRock, Deutsche Bank, Coinbase, and Kraken all building directly on its rail. And Robinhood became the first US public company to launch tokenized stocks on chain using Ethereum's Arbitrum network. And this has always been the big bull case of Ethereum.
Yeah, so we have been waiting that for years that crypto, institutions will come in and buy all of it and be very happy about it. So I'm definitely very happy if that happens. I think everybody would be happy. Anyone holding Ethereum. I know people are very upset with holding it. But there is still possibilities. There's another crypto coin I wanted to actually check out. So this is a crypto coin that really interested me. Crow. Crow was really popular in 2021, but actually did not get a pump now, and I bought $10 worth of Crow for over 500 days, so that's $5,000. So basically a DCA. Man, if there was a bull run, you'd be like completely wrecked. But I love this guy, Matthew Perry. He's a really good content creator overall.
Guys, it's Matt here. So I know I've invested into a lot of things, right? I've invested into things like XRP.
XRP has been the real hype here, but honestly, there's really good other tokens that are probably worth investing, but are not pumping because Bitcoin dominance is at all-time high.
XRP, I've invested into Jasmine Coin, I've invested in the Terra Luna Classic. But one thing that a lot of people really love to bring up is CRO. And where is CRO? Where's it going? What am I doing?
Exactly. Like we saw like someone putting I think he locked up 500K of Crow, and after the market, he got completely wrecked. He lost probably about, what? He lost 300, 400,000. That is just brutal, right? That's a lot of money. So let that sink in.
Especially,
guys, if you haven't already, also follow me and like for more crypto content. Thank you so much for the support.
After everything that we've seen that has happened. And if you don't know, I've been investing into CRO consistently every single.
So yeah, that's basically called DCA, and it's a very big factor. So Kronos has been actually crashing even further. It's been probably same levels as Ethereum.
But again, I'm still investing into CRO and we're still buying that. But I do have a plan for more to come off in the short term, and then see this that we're currently going over today be more of a long-term asset there. So if we look at my CRO, I currently have 49,000.
So he's bought, I guess, $10 each day, and now it actually dropped. Unrealized return, he actually lost money, 16%, which is very sad because if he put this in the stock market, he would have made a lot of money and not to, you know. Matthew Perry actually made some decent gains with Terra Luna Classic.
1,208 CRO in my possession on Coinbase. This is all of the CRO that I've been able to buy over that. So
that's $4,000. But like if you put this in the stock market, compared to, you know, Kronos, compared to the stock market grew. The stock market outperformed this.
500 plus day time span. It's currently worth $3,939.10. It says I'm down by unrealized loss of $766.57. But that's not the case. It's actually down a little bit more.
I'm not sure why it's down a bit more, but I'm guessing because he bought it at a dip. I'm guessing like $1,000.
Check that out. Link will be at the top of the description along the thick of things. It's not anything that's great.
Oh, so he lost $1,300 by buying Kronos every day for 10 days. And that's what that's what happens in crypto. You buy a coin and you make so much money, but nobody's talking if the Bitcoin dominance is at all-time high. What's going to happen then? You know, you're going to be like at a loss. You could have made more money back. Again, $5,000 is not life-changing money, but it could have bought you a nice vacation.
The push will be for the overall supply. If they end up pushing billions upon billions, it seems like every month, then that may not be the case. We might not see $2 and $3, but it really all depends on that. But I currently have 49,000? I currently have 49,208.
So let me just check how much the price was of Kronos a few years ago. I know 2021 it was talked a lot because of their card, and then they stopped the card, and when they stopped the card, everybody lost tons of money, and I mean tons. 68 cents, and now it's 8 cents. So I know someone actually bought it at 56 cents. He locked in his money. 56 cents he locked in his money, and then the worst happened in 2023. People started spreading FUD. They started spreading fake news that it's gonna go bankrupt. So this is the important factor. People said, "Oh, it's gonna fade away. It's gonna go bankrupt like FTX." So here, Kronos was like one of the most used things. A lot of money came in. They said they're gonna go bankrupt because I think they bought a crypto arena, so Crypto.com Arena, which cost millions for the name. They already changed the Google name and people were upset. And it was a big partnership. It was a big marketing event. And I think Matt was in it and everybody was talking about 2023. It never could recover. Went to 20 cents. But the good news is I don't think it's ever going to go bankrupt. I think they have an infinite money glitch. So
CRO. Now, with me only paying $5,000 for it, that getting to a level of $1 would then be 49,208.
So yeah, I think it's a decent risk. Like you get if it goes back to $1. The issue is even at its peak, it was 56 cents. So let's say 25,000, but the risk is now you lost 1,000, right? So it needs to recover that first.
$79 or $80 for that 1,000 CRO, which is not a lot compared to what you would end up getting, which would then be $1,000 when it gets to $1. So that's just my plan for this, but we will see as we move along. We're still buying CRO. We will still continue to do that, and I will show you exactly what I'm purchasing. Again, $10, June 30th.
I mean, that's a pretty good challenge. I don't know if you can automatically set it up, but that looks kind of nice, to be honest. So you can actually, XRP will not, there's a lot of nice videos this guy has, Matthew Perry. I've been watching him for some time. We gotta check what exactly, I had a lot of videos on XRP already, so I think it's important to check where exactly, what do you expect with Chronos? The card is not useful anymore. There's more competitors like Bybit for the card. It can actually pump back if it has the things that it had 2021. Chronos should make like a giveaway, win a car, do trades, win a car, buy crypto, win a car, get a UPC for $3,000. It costs them nothing. They have unlimited money. So I think if they made just a few changes, but on the other hand, there's also new competitors, right? Bybit expanded so much, and people stopped using, like started using other exchanges. Robinhood wanted in because they get a lot of commission, and not just Robinhood, but you know, pretty much 90% of the audience. So it definitely tells me that crypto right now is competitive as ever. Big institutions coming in. So people who buy crypto, they don't go to exchanges anymore. They go buy at, you know, these ETFs or institutions. And I think that's another competition that exchanges have. Before you could only buy from exchanges 4 years ago, but now we're coming in a stage where you can buy them anywhere. Maybe in 1 year you can buy it at your local Walmart. So
What's up?
I'm actually pretty hyped to see this one. XRP, will it break $3 again? So $3, it's $3 for XRP is actually 180 billion market cap, which basically means that it can almost catch up Ethereum if it adds another 100 billion.
You guys, it's Matt here. Welcome back to another video. Now, I'm on vacation currently in Delaware just for a little bit. We're not here for a long time. So in this video, we're going to talk about that, where it currently stands, and obviously what I'm doing with my cryptocurrency as we do that, because obviously that's what this channel is about. This channel is really about me talking about what I own and you guys learning by example, more or less.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about XRP. Is XRP good to own right now?
At a level of $3, I think
it was $3 before, and I'm saying that 2018 it was $3, but it never really came back to those stages of $3. The max it got is $3 again in February, and I definitely think $3 is possible again, but it might take a decent time before we see that.
It's highly likely, right? Some people that were in my comment section are saying XRP is going to zero, that it will never be worth what we believe highly likely to be worth, right? We will never see it do.
That's also true. One thing about XRP, it keeps surprising me because all these people said that XRP is never going to recover. It's going to drop so fast. It's never going to reach $1 again. Look at these people that sold it for pennies. They're probably crying themselves to sleep every night because now it was at $3. I remember people selling it for 15 cents saying, I'm moving on with my life. I'm not holding this anymore. The lawsuit destroyed it and it's going to go to 1 cent. Look at Solana. Solana almost crashed to $7 and actually came back up. And that's why I never sell any cryptos, because there's cryptos that can crash and then go back up. But there's also cryptos nowadays. It depends who you buy. But these top 10 cryptos during the bear market, if you understand how they work, it's actually a very good investment.
What it's going to do. especially in my comment section yesterday, where I was talking about XRP becoming the world currency. I think that it will. I think that it is a solid alternative for the US dollar, but it doesn't mean that it's going to replace the US dollar. And many people were like, look, you're stupid. XRP is going to zero. And
that's what people said. XRP is going to zero when it had its lawsuit, but immediately as the lawsuit was over, so many people came in and started talking about XRP, how XRP is going to explode immediately after the big update ended. And people need to realize that's what sometimes happens to cryptos. You can make mistakes. You can't be 100% right all the time.
That's all your opinion. If I feel as though I'm making a good investment, I can make that investment. And the same thing goes for you guys. If you have an investment that you feel great about, I'm never going to shoot it down. I'll tell you what I feel about it, but I'll never say that it will never happen, right? Because there's always a chance that you can see things materialize.
Who would know Trump coin would have launched? Who would have known, like, we got the biggest cryptos out there? Let me just check the top 100 market cap. Did anyone expect market cap Fartcoin or Pepe to reach 100, or SHIB or Doge? No. Did anyone expect Bong to reach top 100? No. It was a meme coin, and that's why people sold it for pennies. And now when people are selling when they have sold their XRP, they're crying, and that's exactly what we see in these market cycles. And I mean very smart people who went to Harvard, people who went to very prestigious colleges, people who are financial and economic researchers say they will never go up. And in the end, they're all proven wrong.
If you're talking about a certain meme coin to go to $100 trillion, then the likelihood is still a very, very low likelihood. However, is it impossible? No, it's not impossible, right? But I like to make sure that I'm realistic in the things that I'm investing into.
You always got to invest with the right mindset. Like, even if I lose everything, it's okay. You don't go like in a roulette and lose it all.
So looking at XRP, seeing the connections that it has, seeing the implementation within banks for Ripple, seeing many people that are conversing about it, right? That are creating convos online, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitter, and seeing the amount of people, the community.
The community, I'm seeing like the same type as the one I saw back in 2021, which is very inspiring.
Seeing the partnership, seeing the potential use and adoption, and what it's supposed to be. That's what we want within cryptocurrency. So the likelihood of XRP getting to a $3 price point, which honestly isn't a ridiculous price point, it's about a 100.
I think it will happen again. It already happened this market cycle. So $3, pump to $3 is possible. The issue is right now whales are not sure if it's going to go up or down. And when they're not sure if it's going to go up or down, they feel worried. They feel worried. Why should they hold something that might go further down?
Moon mathing.
And we actually saw crypto drop. So it's a very big issue right now for whales. They're taking a risk if XRP is gonna go up. So let that just sink in. But right now, I am very excited where XRP goes from here. It's been going up and down for 3 months. It's been not going that great, and I want to check if the institutions are going to be back for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to pump to 150K, we might be seeing a very big crypto deal. And that's what I'm pretty excited about. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll reply to you guys. Right now, with Trump and Elon beef and Elon Musk starting his own political party, it's just a bit crazy. It's just a bit crazy what I'm seeing. Like, there's been a lot of issues with XRP, and I do have actually another video on XRP.
Listen,
here.
A lot of people across.
Want to check this one and give my thoughts on it.
X and other social media platforms have been extremely bullish on XRP because of its latest pump.
So yeah, this is the issue with XRP. There's a lot of indicators that are showing it that it's gonna pump. In reality, nobody knows, but we do have like a lot of indicators, a lot of whale cells. Same with Ethereum, like going up. There's still a lot of liquidations, which aren't necessarily bad, but they do show like to people that it will not perform well. Like that there's an indication of these whales putting, hey, here's $2 million. Ethereum will go down, not up, right? And same for XRP. People are saying here that it's gonna drop. So 4 weeks ago, I said I will start its final run up in 2 to 4. Believe it or not, here we are.
That we can make an informed decision based off of all of this. And this.
So I wanna check the charts. I don't wanna just check what people think and what people say. I wanna look at the facts. I wanna look at actual opinions.
This is exactly what I'm doing right now. So with that being said, XRP broke out of a specific pattern, this kind of wedge that was forming here. And some people are saying, okay, now that XRP has done this, it could probably go ahead and hit new all-time highs like it did back in January and early Feb, whatever, right? And yeah, that is indeed possible. It is a possibility. Anything is possible in cryptocurrency. I want to point that out.
I mean, yeah.
Clear. Now, it is also indeed possible that this is whale manipulation to try and
maybe they're trying to have some people sell through the last penny. But this one is pretty important that I saw this month.
They're going to be doing with it. You can see Ripple's stablecoin RLUSD will be accepted as collateral for all services at Hidden Road. RLUSD is the first stablecoin enabling efficient, large-scale cross-margin trading between virtual assets and traditional markets.
I already talked about this last week, but I think what's pretty important is they're working with the government. There's actually plenty of stablecoins already, but what makes this one different is people actually kind of, no other stablecoin has been working this closely to enable it for purchase and enable it for transfers, especially with the government. President of Ripple remarked, within just a few months, RLUSD's market capitalization has approached 400 million.
24/7 year-round availability.
So 400 million just tells me there's whales coming in and buying it.
Monica Lung, president of Ripple, remarked, within just a few months, RLUSD's market capitalization has approached $400 million. The next stage of stablecoin adoption is usability in RLUSD.
So I'm concerned, like, what will people use it for if they can just buy normal stablecoins? Why would they hold RLUSD? And I'm guessing XRP, or I mean Ripple, will be using something for it. Will be using some sort of importance or some sort of utility to make it useful.
It is designed for practical use. David Schwartz said, the XRP ledger is a mainnet for finance, adding, in particular in Q2, the EVM sidechain mainnet will launch to further drive ecosystem growth.
So that's exactly the thing. XRP ledger mainnet for finance, the EVM sidechain will launch to further drive ecosystem growth. Now that is bullish. That is massive for XRP ecosystem. It has been working for such a long time on the development, even with the lawsuit over. But this is the big problem. Some of the whales have started to pull out of the stock market.
Large elitist whales institutions use to basically grab liquidity from the markets and liquidate a bunch of people during specific key moments in time. I bet you
crypto is still so small. You can probably get like 3 rich friends. Hey, hello, can I like short the stock market? And they do it. And then they short the stock market and they absolutely destroy it. This is what happened in 2020, guys. You might be laughing with me now, but in 2020, whales could have just sold everything. And they said, okay, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell this and that. I'm just going to sell maybe 20% of my position. And they lost a ton of money.
A lot of people are going to continue to go long right now. And yes, it is possible that we break some new, highs here on the weekly.
This would be nice, but it's so volatile right now. Yes, the unemployment is at lowest levels yet. But what about the future? What about what's going to happen in 2 months? What if there's an unforeseen, and I can't even mention it for YouTube because I'm going to get demonetized, but there could be a plenty of different scenarios where we're going to be seeing a huge price crash.
charts, all that wonderful stuff. That's great.
And then when we see a price crash, the cryptos will get wiped. That's what I'm concerned about.
But listen, we got to show you guys what's happening right now. We can see that the S&P 500 losses are accelerating to 0.5% on the day, putting the index on track for its largest daily loss since June 17th. Now, I want to preface this by just telling you guys that every single time that the S&P 500 has started to accelerate in terms of its daily losses, we have seen...
Yeah, so usually when crypto, like when crypto drops, we all know what it's going for. But when we see like a 0.5%, it usually means in a very short term, maybe 1 month, 2 months, because you got to look stocks on 1, 10, 20 years. It means that it might just be dropping a bit further. So like here, S&P 500, NASDAQ, small cap 2000.
Seen this translate over to the crypto market. We've seen this happen, translate over to Bitcoin losses, XRP losses, Solana losses. And so what I'm starting to believe is this little XRP pump that we're experiencing right now is something that's going to be very short term. Maybe it'll last today, maybe even a little bit into tomorrow, but I do believe we're going to see a very large correction.
So yeah, I mean, everybody's going to take a bit of their money now if they have seen so much the markets pump. The markets basically doubled, which is not healthy for crypto, not by a lot, and it's not healthy for the stock market especially. So that's the importance.
And following a couple of days from now. Now, somebody who's kind of joined and echoed this is CZ Binance, saying that if you want to get rich quick, don't touch cryptocurrency, which is a pretty funny thing to say. And then we also have some other pretty big black swan events that are happening right now, where President Trump has been threatening additional 10% tariffs on.
So that's gonna be bad. That's what I'm afraid of. That Trump is suddenly gonna do that, and he's gonna basically destroy the stock market again.
Any country aligning themselves with anti-American policies of BRICS. So the trade wars are most definitely not over. Even the conflict between Elon Musk and the U.S. government is far from over. Elon Musk recently went out and called Treasury Secretary Basant a George Soros stooge who can't do math, right? And so we're seeing, basically battles on the big stage that will have effects on the economy, trade wars.
Again, this is a very big macro factor. What makes me concerned is usually around this time we were seeing crypto and altcoins go lower. And that's exactly a normal scenario. And then around October, November, we actually saw crypto pump,
which will have effects on, trading in general. And then, of course, certain influential figures in crypto saying, hold your horses, guys. Don't go too crazy too early. And so, yeah, listen, anything is possible in the world of cryptocurrency. We've made that abundantly clear over the last few months. And it is also entirely possible that XRP pushes higher. It goes to 235, 236.
That would be nice. If XRP pumps, that would definitely be nice.
But when we actually look at some of the strongest technical indicators that exist, right? Like the stochastic RSI, for example, right? An extremely powerful buy/sell, overbought but eventually.
So basically this means like what this stocks means for anyone that's not trading. It basically means if it's oversold or overbought, and it's actually reaching oversold territory. And that's what we're seeing with XRP right now.
In the market?
It is in oversold territory, because if you look at these graphs right here, and these graphs are usually correct, not always, they're scenarios. So I guess he's been trading crypto, which is very nice of him. He did actually sell at the good times, and Crypto Levi has been doing a lot of that. But look at that. This is oversold. This means it's oversold, means crypto might be dropping even further. But there were times where the line over here, like with Bitcoin, just pumped up to oblivion. So nobody really knows, but it's actually a very safe bet to say that crypto might be dropping in the near future. So guys, what do you think about this one? Be sure to smash that like button if you haven't already. There's going to be a ton of news today, a ton of more nice news actually coming up right now. I definitely think it's a very nice thing right now for XRP still that it's holding, you know, these very strong lines of, you know, $3-4. So really nice overall. We didn't see anything like that. You know, 2018, crypto crashed and got destroyed. So for me, yeah, like it a lot. All right, I'm done with XRP videos. I want to watch something different. I want to react to something different, actually. Whenever I open YouTube, it's just XRP. XRP here, XRP right. It's either that or it's something about Trump and Elon. Maybe I should start working in like a fast food restaurant or something. That would be nice. But here I am, enjoying life. So, mostly videos about Bitcoin this time. Is Bitcoin actually the best investment? The most important crypto chart in Bitcoin, crypto right now. So let's take a look at this. The most important chart in crypto right now, the road to 9 trillion.
Cryptocurrency of $3 trillion from late 2021. It may have been a slow grind up from there, but that sure doesn't scream the top is in to me. We've barely peaked over the peak of the previous cycle. Bitcoin is
exactly. The issue with crypto right now is that it's dominated by Bitcoin, and anyone who's holding Bitcoin is laughing his way to the bank. But anyone holding altcoins, except if you bought 1, 2, 3 altcoins, you got absolutely destroyed.
Right around $9 trillion in total market cap. That's about a 200% increase from here. That number is not just hopium. It's historically significant because in both the 2017 and the 2021 cycles, those higher fib extension increase areas from here, that number is not just peak zones. We went up to the 3.618 in both cycles previously.
Okay, so my audio cut up a bit here, but from what I can see, basically, he's trying to say that it went up, like this is a total market cap, and this is kind of 10 trillion. We're still far away from 10 trillion. Anyone that's saying we're going to go to 9 trillion. Is that when Bitcoin went down, the other altcoins went up, if I understand correctly. Like, that's exactly
dollars in total market cap. That's about a 200% increase from here.
So the drop was 700 billion. That was the lowest in crypto ever. When everybody's pulled their money out, all the crypto bros left. But there's another chart that I'm hyped about for crypto.
Historically signaled a major pivot point, and reclaiming it was signaled that altcoins are indeed getting ready for some kind of blast.
We haven't seen altcoins do anything in the past year. And I'm trying to learn out why.
Then the next major targets are 1.39 trillion at the 1.618 Fibonacci level, 1.63 trillion at the 2.618 Fibonacci level. So way higher, essentially. However, the MACD on the daily shows that we are still in an accumulation phase.
So I guess people are still buying altcoins after 1 and 2 years. Is that's what he's trying to tell me? Because that to me is shocking. But in a way, it also makes sense because when these cryptos are super low, when people give up, those who truly believe are going to buy and hold them.
And may have to wait just a little bit longer for a sustained rally. But that doesn't change the direction. So that's the short-term technical view. If you zoom out ever so slightly, you'll see that some of the most aggressive traders in the cryptocurrency space, they've already been calling for the next phase of this cryptocurrency market cycle. So back in November of last year, meme coin trader Morale.
So crypto total market cap just made a new high. The journey from 3 trillion to 10 trillion begins here. I think people fairly underestimate how hard it's going to get to 10 trillion. 10 of the biggest gains will be made in meme coins. And there's no fact about it. Like we saw meme coins 2023, 2024, but is he saying that meme coins will dominate everything? Because XRP has been the biggest gainer this year, I'm sure, and meme coins were like 2024-ish. So he's saying like alts and metaverse, and that's going to be the biggest thing, altcoins. And if you go from in 10 years, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different new developments in crypto. And he's now saying in the next 4 years, 3 years, it's just gonna be meme coins and Solana and all this. I think meme coins were always around. I think they were around in 2021, but nobody noticed they spiked. I think GameFis or game financials really dropped. They're non-existent. NFTs are non-existent. So why wouldn't meme coins? Why wouldn't people sell their meme tokens instead of their video game tokens? It doesn't make much sense to me. But I'll just go with benefit of the doubt and watch the video.
Posted on X, crypto total market cap just made new highs. The journey from 3 trillion to 10 trillion begins here. All the biggest gains will be made in meme coins. Some good hopium, man. And honestly, if Bitcoin continues pulling in institutional demand from ETFs and all that stuff, if corporations continue piling money into BTC and other altcoins now that they're starting to do that, if AI tokens and meme coins go crazy again,
I mean, there's no reason for them to go crazy. They would already go crazy, in my opinion. Bull market is less than half the length of the average bull market since World War II. I mean, bull markets last longer than you think, length of bull markets when they started. And I guess are we really going to be comparing charts now from World War II? Are we going to be comparing charts now from World War I and maybe the medieval century stock market? I just feel like kind of there's so much more graphs that we could check out that, you know, if you look at the macro pictures, these don't really mean that much. When you see the big institutions putting 300 million into it, that means something. But when you see these institutions, you know, saying, okay, we're gonna ditch the altcoins, we're just gonna buy Bitcoin, I think this means that they want to have the safe play. They don't want to buy bonk ETFs. And I think that's a pretty fair analogy on what's happening with crypto right now. So
what if I told
Ethereum has been not even close to its all-time high, and it's a very scary thing right now for Ethereum. I'm very worried for it.
This is a scam.
There is so much more that we can see for the crypto pumps that I'm hopeful for. So let's take a look here. What's gonna happen with XRP now? Is XRP gonna pump again? Is it gonna dip? So that is something I wanted to see.
Digital asset is quietly infiltrating the global financial system like a virus, and no one is paying attention. It's not Bitcoin, it's not even Ethereum. It's a 10-year-old coin that the elites have written off.
So that is XRP. But why would XRP overtake Ethereum? I guess one has 300 billion market cap, one has 130 billion market cap. So if Ethereum reaches $5, it actually has a very fair chance of overtaking it. The question is, who's going to put an extra 170 billion, by the way, not million, dollars into XRP? So XRP will surpass Tether, he's basically mentioning. So let that sink in.
This is regulation integrated. Behind the scenes, XRP is already moving inside global finance. Brazil's
Actually, that is very true. XRP has way more government collaboration, and Ethereum is trying to be way more decentralized than people think. The thing is, Ethereum is getting in a lot of ETFs, but if XRP actually gets an ETF approval, that would be insane.
CBDC pilot, XRP Ledger. Bank of England's digital pound test, Ripple. UAE and Saudi Arabia, their Project Aber is with Ripple Tech.
So yeah, it does seem like they have a ton of development and ton of nice news overall at XRP, and that's why people support it. And right now, that's very important. Crypto coins are very competitive. And if you're not a crypto coin, if you're making a poop coin or something and it doesn't have any utility, you can forget pumping it, and it might just be staying there on pump fun. So it might dip. Like, cryptos need utility like that because, guys, think about it. Accept the market cap. Accept how much money you can make. If you had $100 and you were guaranteed to make $10, or if you had $100 and you are guaranteed to make, I don't know, $300, $400, $10,000, some people would throw $100 into that gambling coin. But most people, what they do, if they have a safe play and they have $60,000, $100,000, they will just instead play it safe and buy their safe coins like Bitcoin, I guess.
Institutions like Santander, SBI Japan, Bank of America, they're all integrated with Ripple and XRP. This isn't just hype. This is quiet, methodical infiltration. But here's the thing. So let's compare XRP versus the rest. Bitcoin's market cap right now is 2.18 trillion.
So it's definitely not going to surpass Bitcoin because every time Bitcoin goes up, it goes more than XRP. $40 plus is going to be very hard, especially because you got to consider that whales will be selling XRP if it hits $40.
$40 plus. But to flip Ethereum, it just needs to go to $5 per token. And here's the thing. Ethereum, it's stuck in fragmentation. Layer 2s are messy, regulation is murky, and no one is using it in the actual banking world. XRP.
That's a very bad point because everybody, okay, to flip Ethereum, I guess. But I thought for Bitcoin, it's going to be very hard because everybody's buying Ethereum, like Bitcoin right now. But if Ethereum just had a huge meeting in a counterpoint, so it had a huge meeting with one of the biggest like fintechs, one of the biggest banks, it actually does have a big, it does have a good point. So if it gets another 45% increase, it's not that far off. There is something I'm worried about though.
This current resistance here at about 234 and 250, which will be the initial triggers. This level right here at about 330 to about 340, this is an all-time high breakout. And if this actually breaks, this could easily go from $4, $5, potentially $6 per coin in a short-term target. Where it goes from there, I have no idea.
So there's one thing he's forgetting about when you think about cryptos is every time you want to have a coin that's going to be $50, $60, $70, $80, $90 or XRP is going to be $42, you got to consider somebody's going to be selling these tokens and they're going to be selling it for much cheaper and they're going to be dumping the price. So you have to find someone to buy it for $35 and the next guy to buy it for $37 to create these support walls.
ETH breakout. You also have to factor in that most other coins are nowhere even close to breaking all-time highs. There's only Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe BNB. Those are like
the good point XRP has. It actually is holding a very steady line that makes a lot of people very hyped about it.
The only 3 coins that are near ATH and actually can have a breakout of ATH run. The beautiful thing about breaking above all-time highs, when you get into this level, there's no previous supply over here telling you that you can't continue to go higher. There's no resistance. It's called blue skies ahead.
There is resistance that's called like people selling all their altcoins. That's what I'm worried about. What if for XRP, people decide to sell it, okay, $4 is out, I'm going to buy my Lambo. That's the biggest problem that I'm seeing with XRP right now is we just saw it rise $3. So we saw it go up for we just saw it rise for 3 cents. 3 cents today, and everything was scooped by the whale. So the whale sold it for the 4 cents that it was cheaper, instantly sold it. So it's very unfortunate.
And what if we actually do see a breakdown of the 50-day moving average here on Bitcoin? That is possible. And that would be the catalyst where we might see a reversal in the markets. And that's something that you have to factor in because there's always risk for every trade that you make. I'm not a one-sided trader. I look for, okay, where do I stop out if this doesn't work?
So the biggest issue I have here is if we actually look at the prices. So we open this and yeah, XRP is looking nice right now. Ethereum is looking nice. Everybody's like talking about XRP even though it's being shorted that Ethereum is going to pump. What's stopping from Ethereum also going up is XRP goes up. Bitcoin is going to go up, so other altcoins will go up, XRP and Ethereum. So are you saying, like in your counterpoint, for XRP to overtake Ethereum, you need to have XRP go down or stay the same price and XRP to go its all-time highs? It's all-time highs when in 2018, I guess that because it was also lawsuits, so I'm just going to look at 2025 to be more in, historic, because looking at 2018 prices, we got inflation, we got all of that. So let's say it was maximum of $4 and it's now $3. So actually the maximum was 3.36, but with inflation and everything we saw in 2020, I don't even want to mention it on YouTube because I don't want to get demonetized. It's going to be $4. So you're telling me that people are not going to be selling it at all-time highs and Ethereum won't have enough time to catch up. It just seems very very different in that sense. It seems like people don't realize that it can actually dip on a very big basis, like that people can sell their XRP. And I'm not telling people that it's gonna dip. I'm telling people to be more realistic. That's exactly what happened with SHIB. People were saying Shiba Inu is never gonna drop. Why would it drop? It's my money and it's not gonna go away. And then what we saw in a few days is actually SHIB dropped very big levels. It was sold by whales, and a lot of people lost a lot of money on Shiba Inu, on a meme coin. So it's very unfortunate that people are like that. They lost money, and sometimes you gain money. I'll keep you guys updated with more news, though. If you guys want to stay updated, be sure to smash that like button. Peace, everyone. Shiba Inu holders, Ethereum holders, welcome back to... All right. So I guess that's it for this stream. Thank you so much for watching my first stream. I'll be here tomorrow. It's been an absolute blast. I've been filming for an hour, so I'm gonna eat something, take a rest, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Whoever stayed here, much love to you all. And, you know, stay safe as always.